I'm muted. Welcome to Jets Chaos with Jeremy. Today is the Friday Night Hangout. I got a very special guest, and we will get to that right after this. I would regret it if people look back at the first episode and you weren't on it.
Yeah, well, I like that. It's called forward thinking.
We have one of the worst beats in the world. We do. Our beat is horrible.
Connor could shove that article up his ass.
And then I went to that game, and I was like, this is the greatest team I've ever seen in my life. I'm a Jet fan. This is going to be the greatest run ever. Yeah.
No, because if they take Aquanu, I'm not complaining.
Joe Douglas is the king of keeping shit close to the vest.
A 2, a 4, and a 6 for Darnold.
Did the Jets really ruin Sam Darnold, or did Sam Darnold just suck all along and we were just trying to talk ourselves into it?
And Hamilton is a player who can potentially make a very big impact.
And suddenly here we are today, you can't get rid of him.
Right, it's like a plague.
Joe Douglas was hired because he's not those general managers.
Okay, Luscious.
Somebody is going to fall just like Elijah Moore did, just like Michael Carter did.
You know, what would, if you had one sentence to say to Joe Douglas, what would you say? So you would say, you had me at hello, and then give him a big old wet one right on the smack.
All right, so welcome, Jet family. We are ready to go, and we got a special guest hanging out for Friday night. Let me give him his proper introduction. I've said this before, and I'll say it again. He was doing this since I was in diapers, and I'm 51 years old. So what does that tell you? Is he a time traveler? Is he just magic? Well, if you watch this guy on his channel, I promise you, he's definitely magic. He's dynamic. He's great. He knows everything about the Jets. But you know what? The reality is he's just an amazing, amazing human being. Welcome, Long Beach Joe.
What's going on? What's going on? Salutes to you, Jeremy. Thank you so much for the intro. I really appreciated that. Yeah, I'm just excited to, come on through and talk with you about the Jets. And salutes to you and everybody else listening, man.
Thanks, man. I've been excited to talk to you again and get you back on. So I'm glad we were able to work it out. Let's say hello to some people in the chat. I think you know most of them. Owen Barrera's here. Thomas Cahill, Jets Mess. Our local Miami Dolphin fan who just likes to hang out and talk with us, Grandizer. Everybody loves him, even though he loves Miami. See that? We can all be civil when we want to be. Jets Fan United is here. Boogie Down Bronx is here. We got some guy here. So we're getting it. People are starting to stream in, which is nice. Hey, I don't know if you've noticed this, Long Beach, but like, and I kind of told you when you said, what are we going to talk about? Mm-hmm. I said, well, that's the problem, isn't it? This has been, ever since the draft, it's gotten really, really quiet.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, I mean, go ahead.
No, I'm saying, so how do you feel about that?
I feel all right about it. I look at the situation and I think that now it's about, getting the guys in and seeing what they can do and talking about, the positions and things like that, right? Like, again, recently, we just got all our first round guys signed. I know a lot of people you just said, it's quiet. To me, that's big. Think about the drama that we had, with Zach Wilson, all of the stuff that was going on with that. Oh, well, him and Joe Douglas going back and forth about the contract situation and things were just continuing on where he wasn't, in camp and all this other stuff that was going on, right? And there was a lot of drama surrounding that. The beat got involved. Some of the fan base was upset about it, all this stuff, right? And that we had none of those issues this year. Sauce signed, Jermaine signed, Garrett Wilson, I think was just signed a day or two ago. I love that because now all of that is out of the way. The money, all that stuff is taken care of. Now let's get these young guys in that we need ever so much, right? At various positions. Again, Sauce at corner, Garrett Wilson at wide receiver, Jermaine Johnson being a guy that I think we just absolutely stole as a pass rusher. And here we are. Boom. We've got these guys. They're ready to go. All the drama's put aside. Now we're continuing. There's still guys out there, though, I think that could benefit the New York Jets. And I feel like a lot of people are not talking about that. There's still some free agents that can help us out. but I like it. I like no news, no crazy news is good news to me. But I like what we've done, and I like that Joe Douglas learned from the situation last year and said, "Okay, I'm not going to do that again. We're going to, continue forward. I'm going to get this done quickly and move on."
I love it. And you know what? Sometimes it's just a matter of we're so used to negative that we don't know that no news is good news.
Mhm.
I feel like doing my old Gary Gnu bit, but also not only is no news good news, but signing guys like signing our like we had three first rounders. If there was ever a year where you're going to have to worry about signing them all, this was the year, and here we
Yep.
are. There are signs. It's not even the end of May, and they're all signed, and they're all taken, and they're all done. So yeah, I want to just quickly shout out that we have two famous YouTubers in the chat with us. We have John from Jets Today. Very, very happy to see him here. We're going to be doing some stuff hopefully this summer, and I'm looking forward to that. And we also have, in his alternate alias name, we have the famous Green Bean in the full-time Costa Tour. And for those of you who have recently subscribed to Green Bean that you do not know about his full-time Costa Tour, you should check out that site and like and subscribe to that site as well, because if you've ever been to amusement parks and you like roller coasters, this is the site you go to find out everything. Also, Mr. Magic is here. What's up, my friend?
Salutes,
Glad to see
Mr.
ya.
Magic.
And talking about YouTube content providers, Buffalo Jet Fan is here. So, man, maybe that'll be the thing I'm famous for. That's the YouTuber that knows all the other YouTube content providers. They make up half his audience. So, So see, these are the things that being a YouTube content provider lead to. So my wife doesn't know what's going on about dinner. That's just one of the things about being a YouTuber. And hey, V man, what's up? So I did a bunch of the hellos. I just have to do that. You know that Long Beach. That's my thing.
Yeah,
I want everyone to be heard and acknowledged and appreciated.
absolutely.
Yeah. So one day, the dream will happen. I'll have 300 people in here, and I'll have to read through 300 names. So
Yeah, that's what it's all about, letting people know, hey, that you appreciate them. Same thing I do, on my channel as well. Again, salutes to all the savages. I see you, Magic V. What's going on? All my guys in there. So salutes to y'all. But hey, it's all about engagement and talking to people, and that's what this is all about.
Yeah. So you said an interesting word. I noticed you say it a lot, and I like it. That's your thing. Like people who are in the chat and everything, savages. Zach Wilson's mother once said after he was drafted, she said he's a savage, and I love that. That got me totally excited, totally pumped. I've watched enough of his tape, and I agree. I've seen some things that I think Zach Wilson. People are going to find out once he gets comfortable in this league that he's a savage.
Yeah.
What do you think of Zach Wilson and savage?
Oh well, first off, savage is just it's almost unexplainable, right? Like the savages over here, on my channel, we go after everything. It's all about being positive. It's all about, grabbing anything that you want in life. That's what being a savage is. Doing whatever measures that need to be taken to positively impact your life, and not just your life, but the community's life as well, right? So that's what savages is all about. Where I am, we really band together and we talk jazz and we have fun and we do all kind of things on my channel, right? But as far as Zach Wilson, I like some of the things that I saw out of him last year. I did. A lot of the things that we heard about with him, or a lot of things that we watched with him in college. The arm strength is there. The ability to get outside the pocket. We saw that various times he was running for his life, especially early. All right. So so we saw the athleticism. Now, for me, especially when you watch last season, during the second half of the season, where I think we kind of saw him settle down a bit. There was no interceptions for the last, I think, like 5 games. He started to kind of clean things up a little bit, right? Yeah. Now, I think coming into this season, it's about really taking that next step forward. You're in the second year in a system that honestly is very QB friendly. It's a run first system. We've got weapons now, right? Garrett Wilson, Corey Davis, Elijah Moore, they're going to be back. We went and got 2, really solid tight ends in Conklin and Uzama. We've upgraded the offensive line with Lakeland Tomlinson. our running backs, Breece Hall, Michael Carter. He's been given a lot of things that we have not given quarterbacks here in like ever. Right. Right. We completely smoked out Sam Darnold. Like we've blown people up before, but he has been, and kudos to Joe Douglas for these things, but he has been put in a true position to succeed. Okay. Even our offensive coordinator, we saw him once he left the field and went back up to the booth. We saw an immense amount of creativity. We saw him be able to utilize the backup quarterback in Mike White, who looked phenomenal until that Colts game. Then we saw even Joe Flacco look solid in the scheme. So what I want to see out of Zach Wilson in the second year is I want to see him take command of the offense and take command of the team. I want to see him work and become more efficient at not just throwing the deep ball. These short passes, the ones that were in the dirt, anybody remember that? All right. Those constant were issues, those mid-level passes that were off target, being flustered at times when there was no pressure. He's just looking to run. Those things need to get cleaned up, because if they do, I truly believe that Zach Wilson has the tools, right, and the skill set and the surrounding cast to be a top 15 quarterback in this league. I do think he can do that. So I want to see him clean things up, cut down on the turnovers, and take that next step forward this coming season.
Yeah. And don't you think that Zach Wilson, that's like the normal, natural growth of a quarterback? Like their rookie year, they're figuring things out. Then the second year, they come in with that different mentality. Like, and not even just at quarterback, but in all positions. You come back and suddenly you're a professional now. Mm-hmm. You've lived through your first season. You're not the newbie anymore. All of those first-time experiences are over now. Mm-hmm. Especially when you have other young guys coming in, because imagine how Elijah Moore feels now standing next to Garrett Wilson, because he knows everything Garrett Wilson is feeling and experiencing, and now he's been through it all. He's been through everything. He's had to come back from injury now. He's had to learn a system. He's had to survive dropping a pass and feeling bad about it probably, then success and getting touchdowns and going on a little run. So Zach Wilson's going to get to experience that now. He's going to have that feeling of, I've been here before, I've done this. And by the way, first full off season to learn the playbook. Yeah. Everyone forgets how little time to learn a pretty complex playbook. And they didn't hold back. They threw the whole book at him, literally. So I'm thinking that those short passes, to me, was overthinking. Because you're trying to do so much. You're not as comfortable with the playbook. You're not as comfortable with the plays. So everything is like being like under a microscope. When you're comfortable, and it's like, then it becomes more of like a muscle memory thing. You're just running the plays, and suddenly now you're just using your instincts and your own natural ability. And I'm especially because what we saw at the end of the year, he started to come around in that department. I think we're going to be good with him.
Yeah. Well, I hear what you're saying there. I think when you watch the games where those short passes were in the dirt, him missing screen, guys coming out of flats, screens, all that stuff like that. I think a lot of that was his mechanics were off at times. Some of the same things we saw with Sam Darnold. There was times when Zach was just trying to literally make a play with his arm, and we saw it just go into the dirt. He's got to be more accurate there. That's why, again, if you watch, dude, he loves the deep ball. I'm talking loves it. Like, and that's phenomenal. We want to push the ball down the field. But even the coaches, Mike LaFleur, and I think Sulla came out and talked about, sitting down with him and telling him, hey, get the boring stuff. Take care of the boring stuff first, and everything else will fall into place. Stop trying to just push the ball down the field, push the ball down the field, push the ball down the field. Take the boring stuff, and then we can take that shot. And I think that was the thing that really we saw completely change when Mike White took hold of the football team when Zach got his injury. Mike White wasn't pushing the ball down the field constantly. He was hitting a lot of the boring stuff. Those short passes to Michael Carter, those are designed plays. Michael Carter was running in space or just running away from people because he had great matchups. Go back and watch that Bengals game, and you will see Mike White be extremely efficient. Dink, dunk, 5-4-1 first down, 5-6 first down. He just kept the chains moving. And we were scoring on drives where he was just finding his guy so the guy get the ball, get down. Zach has to do the same thing, and he can't just rely on simply arm strength. The mechanics, again, will get together. He's got to clean that stuff up. But I'm telling you, next year, if he can do this, which I believe he will, he has such a great setup, not just with the supporting cast as far as the weapons we got him, but the coaching staff is better than I think we've darn near ever given a quarterback that's ever been here, right? You have a coaching staff that understands how to groom and mature a young quarterback. We've got guys around him that can set him up for success. And again, I know a lot of people talk about, and that's why I was talking about selling my last show. A lot of people talk about the players, but coaching matters in this league as well. If you look at Belichick has dominated, the Patriots have dominated our division for I don't know how long because of coaching. That's why Belichick has been able. Look what he's doing with Mac Jones. You know, Mac Jones is, I think he went to the Pro Bowl this year and he is a top. Go ahead.
I think they grossly underestimate the impact that losing Knapp, when Knapp, unfortunately had that tragic accident and passed away. I think people really underestimate the impact that had on this team.
Yeah,
that was our veteran guy. He may not have had the title, offensive coordinator, but he was the most experienced coach on the staff, particularly on offense. He was going to be the guy that I think eventually that's why they brought in Zach's quarterback coach. And then they brought in some, other people. But
that's what I was about to get to.
He was supposed to be the guy that was going to watch over Zach. And I think LaFleur would have started the season in the box.
Yeah.
If Knapp doesn't get into that accident and pass away.
And that's why that's the change that we saw once Zach Wilson sat down. The reason why LaFleur went into the box is because Mike White was in. He was like, okay, this is an experienced guy. I don't need to be down here on the field. Right. And that's when things changed up and the offense really got clicking because he was able to call from a different spot. And again, Mike White was just handling business. But again, if you look at how coaching has affected young quarterbacks, you look at what Andy Reid is doing with Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes is phenomenal. But Andy Reid is taking this guy to another level because the play calling is there, right? You look at the coaching that Lamar Jackson has gotten with the Ravens. I remember a lot of people saying that he was a running back coming out of the draft. I'm sure you remember that as well. Oh, he's running all over you, all right? And he's also throwing the football all over the place. He will absolutely dominate you with his arm when necessary. And he does it all the time. It's just his thing, right? Nobody's saying that he's not a good quarterback in this league. He is. If you look within our division, Josh Allen has taken a tremendous step forward. Yeah. I used to call him a glorified running back. I called him a bum, a massive a walking interception is what I called him. I called him a lot of things, right? I'm being honest. I did, So I said all those things. And up until I want to say maybe 2 years ago, he was that. He was just throwing footballs all over the place, wildly inaccurate. He sat down. They got him with some coaches, McDermott and Daboll was there. And some other guys surrounded him, and he went from being a guy that was horrific, right, and inaccurate and all over the place to an MVP candidate. And now if you look at what the Bills are doing with him, they've got weapons, Diggs, and all these guys. He's completely changed, and they're one of the top teams in our division. It's because of coaching. If you listen to any of the interviews that he does, he'll tell you, I sat down with coaches. They helped me fix my mechanics, which is extremely important in this league. Yeah. I fixed my mechanics. I fixed my timing. I started to hone in on things because of the coaching. And this year, I'm a light the league on fire. And that's exactly what he did. So the importance of coaching, I think, is huge. And a lot of people don't talk about that either. And I think that we've set Zach Wilson up with success from that standpoint as well.
I agree. I want to say hello to a few more people. Braden from New Zealand. Bismo Charismo from Australia. So we got the whole down under covered. Hello to Kelly Wilson. Thanks for coming back and being here again today. And then Rusty Spooner. I don't know if you know this. He's here.
Oh, yeah.
I can't see him. I can't highlight his messages. We don't know what's wrong. Something's messed up in YouTube. I could see him in my other account. I know he's here. But I wanted to give a big shout out to Rusty Spooner. We see you. We love you. You are the ultimate savage. I'm going to steal your expression.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
He's a
Rusty Savage.
So
you already
what's
know.
up, Rusty? Rusty Savage. I'm going to change your name now. So I want to say hello to those. And there's some new people, but I just wanted to make sure that we let them know they were here because Braden is driving in New Zealand. So I want him to know we see you. We know you're listening and we appreciate it. So, yeah, look, Zach Wilson is it's something it's with all the additions we've been excited about all these new players and talking about all the possibilities. It always is going to come back to Zach.
Yeah.
Now, there's parts of the game. Yes, the trenches and the offensive line is so important. There's so many things in football. For our rebuild, for everything to really come together, Zach has to take that step. Like, if he doesn't take that step, think of what it does to this organization and this team, how much it sets us back. The worst is if he takes a small step, but he's not good enough. Like, kind of like that Jimmy G situation, right? When you get a guy who is good, he's not the kind of guy you throw away typically, but he's going to stop you from getting that Super Bowl ring. Because he's just enough, like, with the team around him, he can get you there, but can he really close the deal? And you don't want to be stuck in that situation. Like, so if Zach hits and he's special, and when I say special, I'm not saying he has to be top 5. If he's a top 12 quarterback in the NFL with the team we're putting around him, to me, it feels like that'll be enough and all we need.
Yeah, that's why I said I think he has the ability to be a top 15 quarterback in this league. I think he really does.
The talent is certainly there.
Yeah, if you have a guy that can just put you in positions to get W's and not turn the ball over crazy, not do something stupid, you can be a winner in this league. And I think that, again, Zach Wilson has all that it takes there. And yeah, if Zach Wilson is bad, we're going to be bad. I'm sorry. That's just how it's going to work. If Zach Wilson is really bad, we're going to be really bad. But again, we have the weapons. There's literally like almost no excuse to be horrific here, unless, knock on wood, there's massive injuries and so on and so forth. Right. Pretty sure they're going to be very careful this time around. All right. And camp and joint practices and all that stuff to kind of settle down, because we lost a lot of guys that way. Right. But if everything goes as well and we're healthy, fully healthy, dude, this offense could really absolutely light up the league, because we have so many different weapons now. We truly do. If you just look at how our running game can be handled, right? You look at the Niners, they run the football a lot. We run the Niners offense. So we're going to be running the football a lot. That's why we got Brees, we got Lakeland, we got all those guys, right? So what that does is that helps Zach Wilson, because now when it goes to play action, you can put your tight ends out there. We play action. Okay, if you don't want to, if you think we're running and you bite on down, guess what? We'll hand it off to Uzma. We'll dump it off to Conklin, and you're gonna have to deal with them. We got 2 pass catching, tight ends. You're gonna have to deal with that. Also, they can block as well. So when we come out in formations, you're not really gonna know what we're trying to do. If you can't disregard us anymore. You can't disregard our tight ends at all, because if you do, they'll make you pay. So things has just changed so much. And again, you get a second year of Elijah Moore coming back. He showed us a lot last year. Coming back again this year, he's going to be even better. We add in Garrett Wilson. There's just so many things going well that Zach is definitely, I think he has the ability to light it up.
Yeah. So, hey, we got a question for you. Grandizer, our resident Miami Dolphin fan. Question for Long Beach. How many Jets jerseys do you own? Who is your favorite Jets player on offense and defense? I think he means of all time. So you don't have, and special teams. So you don't have to, it's not just current players, obviously. Okay. So do you have any guys that stand out, and do you own Jets jerseys?
Yeah, I absolutely own Jets jerseys. I own way too much, way too many Jets jerseys. But it's never too much. I'm gonna say it like that. Joe Namath, Gastineau, Joe Namath, Gastineau. I own a couple. I own a lot. I own a lot. I can't even remember how many that I have, but I own a lot of them. And my favorite Jets player of all time offensively is Chad Pennington. I just love the way that he approached the game mentally. Wasn't the most talented guy. Arm wasn't the greatest, but he could absolutely just dominate defenses with his mind. He was so informed about the game, so smart, understood how to take, how to just give and take, how to take what the defense gave him, and also how to put himself in positions to get his player the football, but keep it completely away from a defender being able to get the ball, because again, his physical limitations with his arm. So he is definitely my best player, or my most favorite player offensively for the Jets. My favorite defensive player of all time for the Jets. It's kind of tough, but I'm going to go with Revis, to be completely honest. It's between Revis and I loved Victor Green, watching Victor Green growing up. Revis, Victor Green, and John Abraham, too, was definitely my guy when I was watching when I was young. But Revis, dude, I've never seen a corner do some of the things that he did. I mean, I know, again, there's been a lot of great corners in this league. I'm not disrespecting Dion, so on and so forth, right? But to watch him go out there and literally, we knew every single week, okay, prime Revis, we knew that if we were playing the Lions or the Cowboys or whoever your number one receiver was, they weren't playing because they weren't going to get the football. We knew that going into every game. Like, okay, we're playing Randy this week. Oh, he's not getting the ball. We ain't got to worry about him. Now we got to worry about, these other guys. Or we're playing whoever. He was shutting down great wide receivers. These weren't bums that he was playing against. He was playing against great guys, and they were getting nothing. And it was expected every single week. He was literally on an island by himself every week.
Yeah.
And he would produce every week. So Revis is definitely my favorite defensive guy. Special teams, I'm going to say Chad Morton. Chad Morton, special teams. Yeah, okay. Chad Morton was phenomenal. I couldn't stand it, the Redskins, and they took a lot of guys from us that, but Chad Morton was him. Yeah, Chad Morton, I really liked him.
Huh. I people know this in the chat. Like I've said it before, my favorite defensive player was a guy. He goes back to the late 80s, early 90s. There's a cornerback named James Hasty.
Oh yeah.
And it was more. It wasn't. He was really good, and not as good as Revis. I just loved him because at a time where Jet fans didn't have a lot to be happy about, he gave us something to enjoy. Like, he played like they were the Super Bowl champions. He played. They could be down by 20 points. It didn't matter. Like, he didn't lose faith. He just would never stop talking. He brought that attitude. I wish that he could have been on a better team. Like, he kind of fit into the wrong years a little bit. I mean, there was some good teams like the late 80s. He caught a little bit of it, but then he caught some down, in the 90s. And then when we got good with Parcells again, he was in Kansas. He left for Kansas City in the mid 90s or whatever. So, but anyway, I would love to have him on this team now. I'd love to have him on all of our teams. I love him. Yeah. He's my favorite player. And offensively, I would have to say, man, I really loved those. So I'm a wide receiver guy. Wayne Corbett, Al Toon, Wesley Walker. It's hard to pick one over the other because there were different phases of my life, and I loved them so much. So, but I'll say, I would say Al Toon. I would have to pick if I had to pick like who I was into. Like I loved Al Toon. I loved Screaming Toon every time he caught a ball. And special teams is easy for me. It's Pat Leahy, because he was like, when I was young, he was the best part of the Jets for a while too. It was like when he went on that field goal streak and everything, and I loved him. We could use him now if we could use Pat Leahy. So
yeah. Well, I mean, we got Zerline. We're gonna see what's going on with him, and Eddie Pinheiro as well. That's gonna be a battle a lot of people are not talking about, is that kicker battle. Like you said, we've been up and down in this kicker situation. Remember we had Vedvik and all that. It was a bunch of kickers this one year. It was awful, but I think that we're gonna figure that out this season, and that's gonna be a very solid standpoint for us too, to get a quality kicker. Ever since Myers left, it's just been a mess, man.
Yeah, no, it's been brutal. And Friggle D's in the chat. Hey, what's up, Friggle D? It's good to see you out there. He always drops in even if you can't watch the show. He's funny. So we got a discussion question. Long Beach Joe, do you expect Jermaine Johnson to get over 8 sacks? I assume he means year one.
Yeah,
obviously.
8 sacks in his first season. I think it's possible. I think it's definitely possible. I don't know if he'll get into the teens, but I think it's possible for him to honestly get 8 or 9 sacks, especially when you look at the defense that we're going to be bringing back, right? Carl Lawson, who says he's going to be ready for camp. If Carl Lawson is fully healthy and back and, going to be able to go out there and really apply some things, again, I think he's going to start off a little slow. But everything we've seen from him, he looks, like he's been working out or doing whatever he can to stay, in shape. So if he can come out and handle business, him, Jermaine Johnson, Carl Lawson, bringing back Quinnen Williams. If we add a guy like Larry Ogunjobi as well, some of the pressure that we're going to be able to bring, I could see Jermaine Johnson, getting 8 or 9 sacks. Now, getting into the teens with the 15, 16, I don't know about that. Okay. He's a young player. He's still trying to grow, but I could see him getting those, 8, 9, maybe 10 in his first year. I could see that.
Yeah, I think it's very possible if two things happen, right? Like just what you said, the surrounding cast helps.
Mm-hmm.
And if he really is NFL ready, like if he comes in strength wise and, with all that and the ability translates to the NFL, if he's going to be a successful edge, why not get 8? I mean, we're hoping his ceiling is, he could be a guy that gets 14 to 16 sacks, in a few years, every year, I mean, that's the ceiling. That's why you draft him in the first round. That's why people would have drafted him at 10, or earlier in the draft. There were teams that couldn't believe he slipped. That just didn't have the picks. They couldn't get to him, so, but yeah, he has every potential, all the potential. And I agree. There's no reason why he can't get 8+ his rookie year, but I do think you're right that some things have to happen aside from him and his skill level and being ready, having the support. Like if Carl Lawson goes off and if the guys on the inside do their job, and then definitely.
Yeah. And I mean, again, I just talked about Lawson and Quinnen Williams and, those guys just coming back, but Sheldon Rankins too. Sheldon Rankins is a guy that can definitely push. So I think that, with Jermaine being in that scrum, I think he can absolutely, become, a terror eventually. Again, at 8, 9, maybe 10 sacks his first year, I think he can definitely get that. But again, in the defensive scheme as well, Sulla and Ulbrich, those guys understand how to utilize players to make them the most effective that they can. So I think that that's going to help too, putting him in positions where he can really use his athletic ability and his skill set to just absolutely get maximum efficiency. So I think that we'll see that too from a coaching standpoint as well. Even White Cotton, who I think is our defensive line guy, he's going to be able to help him too, because young players come in, especially young defensive linemen, young pass rushers, they need help with understanding, moves, getting more moves. You need like 1 million moves in the NFL. You know what I'm saying? So he's definitely going to help him learn that as well.
Talking about coaching and young players, has Ogden ever been given a present and a gift like Sauce Gardner? What is going to happen with Sauce Gardner when you combine him with a coach like Tony Ogden?
Man, listen, let me tell you something. Sauce is a phenomenal corner. And I cannot wait to see him in this secondary. It's going to be a battle. I know a lot of people think that Bryce Hall is just automatically going to go to that bench. And I keep telling people that is not happening. As much as I love Sauce, and I think he's great. I think he's a great corner. I'm telling you, Bryce Hall's going to fight tooth and nail, and he played extremely well for us last year, right? We all came into the season saying the secondary is the weakest. We were wondering about getting torched, all kinds of things. That didn't happen like that. Okay, it didn't happen. At least not on Bryce's side. It did not happen. Now, there were some question marks on the other ones on the other side at times, but not with Bryce, dude. You go back and you watch, these games that we really were able to stick it to people, especially if you watch the Bengals game, where a lot of people said, hey, Jamar Chase is just going to go off. He's going to have 400 yards against y'all. He had been going off weeks before he's seen it. That's not what happened in that game. And a lot of that was due to Bryce Hall being able to put things together. So I like the addition of Sauce with DJ Reed in the secondary as well. We got guys coming back. I really like what we have there at corner. I really, really do.
Yeah, so do I. I think that you're going to see the three of them on the field a lot, personally. I don't, and I'm not going to, people could speculate on how and what that's going to look like and who's going to play where. I really don't care, because at the end of the day, a defender is a defender, and they have skill sets, and there's so many times where there's 3 wide receivers on the field that you're playing against. So I don't care how you dice it up, as long as we're 3 wide receivers on the field, I want 3 capable guys to cover them, right? So you get if a team has a really good tight end or a very good running back out of the backfield, you got a guy like Michael Carter II. If they bring, if they come in and they do 3 wide, 2 on one side, 1 on the other, we'll have Bryce Hall and Reed on one side and Gardner, on the other, or vice versa. It doesn't matter. The point is there's nothing wrong with having 3 very capable cornerbacks. They'll all see the field. They'll all get plenty of action. So
Yeah.
it's not a problem, especially with our linebackers.
Yeah.
When you look at our linebackers, we're probably going to be playing a lot more 4-2-5. So they're going to get plenty of opportunities to be on the field. I'm not really worried about it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, and again, especially you look at Salah's scheme, he doesn't have guys he doesn't follow, he doesn't have corners following, guys. It's not like, hey, our number one corner is always going to follow their number one wide receiver, because that's not what he did last year either. Unless they completely switch that up, I think we'll see guys out there. But like you said as well, having 4 great corners, because again, Michael Carter II was really good last year, especially in that slot for us, and he's a very young corner. So having him come back, having Sauce, having DJ Reed, and then having Bryce Hall, and I know a lot of people have almost forgotten about Brandon Echols as well, who was playing pretty good in spots too. It's great to have a secondary like that. But something that you touched upon, this linebacking core, I have a lot of question marks about it going into this year, to be completely honest. And that's why I am big on wanting to see the New York Jets sign K'Wan Alexander. I really want to, unless he's gone. And again, things are constantly moving around quick, so he could be gone right now as I'm talking, right? But I want to see them get this guy, because the Jets linebacking core has so many question marks on it, right? You look at CJ Mosley, who played very well for us, last season. Really liked his production, but he's getting up in age. I think he makes $17.5 million this year, and then it goes to $18.5 next year. How long is he really going to be around, right? Then you got Quincy Williams, who played good for us last year. Well, I'm excited about him. But after those 2 guys, it's big question marks. Hamza, Nezruldeen, and Jamin Sherwood, both of those guys went down with, an ACL, and I think one had an Achilles injury. They're kind of question marks. We're trying to figure out what these young guys are. You go by their first season, it was kind of all over the place. So they struggled in coverage at times. Then they suffered those big injuries. So now we got to see what they're coming back as off those injuries, and we've got to figure out what their production will be on the field. So it's like, after those guys, after Quincy and CJ, it's like big question marks. So I want to see the New York Jets attack the linebacking core and kind of shore up some question marks there.
I love it. Let's see. So Rusty, because I can't highlight it, I'll read it. Rusty says, we have a lot of offensive weapons now. Pretty crazy how quickly it changed from February of this year. Defense too, also with a great coaching staff and GM. It's an awesome feeling and different. And I want to really highlight the difference, because I think anybody paying attention knows that this is different. It feels different. And I think it feels different because it is different. I think the last 16 months to 17 months has been very, very different.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I feel like we're building a roster that we've never seen a Jets team have. And we've had some great rosters, like 98 and this and 11 and 10, but we've had great rosters. But this feels like we're building a great roster to sustain. Not just 1 or 2 years, but 5-10 years.
Yeah.
That's how it feels to me.
And I think it's because, Joe Douglas has really shown that he's a general manager that has a plan, right? We're not just flying by the seat of our pants anymore. We're not blowing through drafts. We're not, doing some of the stupid things we saw Mike McCagnon do. We're seeing return from our drafts, right? We're seeing guys that we pick come in and play. Michael Carter, one of our best playmakers last year. We drafted him in the mid rounds, right? Zach Wilson, that we saw out there, who we all believe is our franchise guy. We saw him go out there and play. Now he's continuing to build the smart way. Joe Douglas has a plan, and he's not deviating from that. He's also not wildly overspending like we saw Mike McCagnon do and put our team in bad positions week in or year in and year out with the bonehead moves. That stuff is gone. Joe Douglas is one of the most respected football minds in the league, and it's a reason for that. It's because he values guys at what he values you at. He's not going to get taken advantage of. You're not going to use him. He's going to come in, do business, and if you don't want to do business, he'll move forward. He's made so many moves that were quality, right? So many. You look at the trade of Jamal Adams. If that was Mike Maccagnan would have paid Jamal Adams $25 million a season, and we would have been stuck with a malcontent as a safety. That's insanity. But that's the kind of things that Mike Maccagnan was doing. Stupid stuff like that, right? And he would have done that. But Joe Douglas said, you know what? You want to start your stuff? I'm going to move on from you. And he did. And look at the return that we got with that trade. 2 first-round picks and some change. Look what Joe Douglas has been able to turn that into. Look at it. We're so much better off. Always say, he's done so many things. Trading Chris Herndon for a fourth rounder. What? That's insane. Getting rid of Blake Cashman, who never plays, right? And still getting capital back from that. He's just constantly showing you that I'm a general manager that understands value, that understands how to negotiate, that understands how to ensure that my roster is going to be straight. And I'm moving forward with that. And I'll absolutely love it. We have a general manager and a staff that is on one accord as well, right? Because guess what? It's no longer, hey, we both report to the owner. No, that's done. The coach reports to Joe Douglas. Joe Douglas reports to the owner. There's organization here now. And that's been a big, big change as well. So that's why it's so different, especially when you listen to the free agents that we have in here. They're excited to come here now. We're no longer a destination where you just kind of utilize us to get the bag somewhere else. Or you come in here knowing that, hey, I'm going to play here, get the most I can out the Jets, and then I'm out of here to go on. No, we're a place that players are excited to come to. Uzma talked about it. Whitehead talked about it. Lakeland Tomlinson talked about it. We are a destination now where players want to come and play. They want to be here because of what we're building and because of Sulla and his coaching staff.
Thomas Cahill says, is it possible, just changing the subject a little bit, that DQ makes the team and becomes a starting linebacker? Well, I did a video on DQ Thomas, so I've looked into him, watched a lot of his tape, and this is my feelings about him. He's one of those guys where there's an issue with where he comes from, right? I mean, he played at Middle Tennessee State. He didn't go up against elite competition, but I always make this point. That is concern. That is a question mark of will it translate to this higher level of competition? But it's not evidence that he won't, right? I mean, just because players have come out of the lower divisions, like Wayne Corbett came out of Hofstra. So it's not evidence that they can't. There's no evidence or anything that says he can't play against elite competition. Maybe things worked out differently and he grew up in a different city, like he would have been in a Division I school and been just as good. We don't know. I think personally, from what I've watched and what I've seen, that he has a very solid chance, most likely, to make the practice roster and the practice squad. And does he have a chance to be a starting linebacker someday if he develops? If everything goes right for him, I think he has a chance. He has a possibility. I don't think it's a shoo-in. I don't think it's automatic. But I think there's a possibility he makes the practice squad, eventually develops, gets into a game, gets into some games, plays well, and develops into a starting linebacker. It wouldn't shock me. And it would be an amazing pickup for us if that was to come to fruition. What do you think?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I kind of feel the exact same way. Here's a guy that I think, he's got some ability, but we'll see, what happens going forward. Again, there's so many varying factors, but like you said, coming out of Middle Tennessee, the type of game that he played, he could come into the league and possibly, play his way into being a starter. But we've got to see that. I think a lot of, especially when you're talking about guys that, are undrafted or anything like that, you've got to see them out on that field and see what they can do. But maybe he, puts on and is able to come in and play, become one of our starting linebackers, because our linebacker position outside of CJ Mosley and Quincy Williams, there's some open spots there. And if you can play up and you go to the wall, I'm telling you, Sulla will put you out there. He absolutely will.
Yeah. So Snowball says, when do we get some respect? How much long do we need to win? I think even if we get 7 to 9 wins, I think, first of all, respect is who you're talking about, right? Because some people have a different level of when they start to respect versus others. I think people who are very knowledgeable of the Jets, if we were to come out and win 7 to 9 games, and Zach takes that next step and shows he's going to, keep developing, knowledgeable football fans are going to start respecting us and saying, whoa, these guys are going to be a problem. I think you have casual fans that just look at the overall record and they're just, they're not going to notice you until. I mean, there were people who weren't respecting Cincinnati all the way up to them making the Super Bowl. Like, oh, this is just a fluke. It's just, I mean, so there are some people that you're not going to gain their respect until you're literally in the playoffs year after year, maybe make the Super Bowl, win a Super Bowl, and that's just them. But I think that all that matters for us is that we keep reasonable expectations. We understand that we were just a 4-13 team, and that the success of this franchise doesn't require us to win 12 games this season. Everything doesn't blow up if we don't win 12 games. If we win 8 games and go 8-9, now with the variables of did Zach play well, what, those little nuances of what happened, blah, 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 we could end up being 8-9 and feel really good that we're still on that right, that we're projecting really well. If we play every game really tight and are super competitive, and we're just a young team who doesn't know how to close out the game yet, and we lose some games here and there, like miss kick, just a mistake from the coaching staff, a turnover. But if we're playing teams down to the wire and playing good teams down to the wire, we could live with that. We could, at the end of the season, we'll be able to live with that. What do you think, Joe?
Yeah, I'm kind of thinking the same way there. I think for the mainstream, people that really don't watch the Jets or have, are invested in it, constantly seeing us fail. And 2, we're constantly in the playoffs for them every single year, and we're competing at, the highest of high levels. We're making pushes like that. They're not going to respect us until then. But if you have watched the New York Jets and you've watched us, our ascension, and you've watched us really build up our roster from what it was a couple of years ago after, multiple failed rebuilds, under Mike McCagnon, then the next step forward, watching our players step up, get better, which will equal winning games. That's when I think we'll get the respect. I know that there's a lot of Jets fans that want to see that 12 game or 10 game or whatever, however many games. I know that there's a lot of Jets fans that say, hey, if we don't win at least 8 or 9 games, then, there's going to be some issues here. And a lot of people are going to be upset, which, I kind of understand that point, because, again, you want to see, with all the added weapons that we have here, you want to see us step up and get better. But I want to see us go out there and compete and just take the next step forward. Like you said, if we're going out there and we're seeing a better Zach Wilson, and we're seeing him just really light things up, put things together, but we're losing because of a kick or, just a little issue here or there, then it's like, okay, hey, there's some things we need to fix. But the team has definitely taken a step forward as they just continue to show us that they're, moving up. So I think that I can live with that. But I think, honestly, 8 games, 9 games, I think that would be a solid improvement for us. Absolutely.
Yeah, no, I think so. I mean, and it's like so much is like, to me, definitely with the what needs to be improved if we win 8 games. Like, did it turn out we just don't have the quarterback and everybody played great? That's like an uh-oh to me. But if it's just, we got a bunch of rookies again that are going to be starting or contributing. We have a lot of second-year players. We're super young. And we have a tough schedule in the beginning, right? So it's possible that we can win 8, 9 games. We win 7, 8 games. I mean, or let's say 8. 8's my magic number right in the middle, because I always say 7 to 9 wins. If we get the 8 wins, to me, it's as long as Zach looked okay and took that step forward, and then we lost those games, and some of them were really tight, and we could have easily won 10 or 11 if little things swung the other way. That's very common for a young team. It's just very common to lose 3 games or 4 games even that you could have won, but you're the inexperienced team and you just didn't close. You didn't close it out.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, I hear, I understand we have young players here, right? At certain spots, I get it. But we've also got, quite a bit of veteran players at spots too. And there's some spots, again, when you look at Zach Wilson, you look at our wide receiver core, Elijah Moore is going to be a second-year player. Corey Davis is a veteran. Braxton Berrios, who's a guy that, we brought back, I was extremely excited about. He's a veteran guy. Yeah, we got Garrett Wilson, but those are 3 guys that have been in this league. You look at our running back situation. Breece Hall, yes, he's a rookie. Michael Carter to be a second year. Tevin Coleman is a veteran guy. our running game should be solid because look, our offensive line has changed up, right? Mekhi Becton, who should be back at left tackle this year, we'll see. Again, there's a battle between him and Fant. But if Mekhi Becton's 100%, I think he ends up being our left tackle. He's the guy that's been in the league. Lakeland Tomlinson is a guy that's been in the league. Connor McGovern's a guy that's been in the league. Elijah Vera Tucker, that's going to be his second year. He was phenomenal his rookie year. George Fant has been in this league. So we have veterans at quite a bit of spots, right, that can really help us improve because, again, when you look at our offense last year, one of the biggest reasons why it was awful is because partly it was one-dimensional. We could not run the football, bro. like we could not run the football to save our life. I want to throw my headset. We could not throw the football run the football, to save our lives. And I was always blown away by that. And I would talk to Jets fans and I'd be like, hey, we're a run first offense. We can't run the ball. And they would be like, it don't matter, Joe. Everything's fine. We'll just throw the ball around like the Saints. And it was like, oh, but wait, we can't protect Zach Wilson either because teams are going, they can't run. So we'll just stack the box. That's literally what the Panthers did. They said, oh, you guys are awful at blocking. Greg Van Roten, Connor McGovern, you guys are trash. I'll tell you what, we're just going to send the house to Zach Wilson. And that's exactly what they did. And it was just like getting us destroyed. But with the improved offensive line, with Lakeland Tomlinson being on this line now, then moving him to left and moving Elijah Vera Tucker to right, our running game being able to step up, you will see will significantly improve this offense. Because again, I'm going to say it again, it's a run-first offense. The Niners don't ask Jimmy G to be like Aaron Rodgers. They don't ask him to do that. That's not how that offense is centered. They run the football. Their leading rusher, I think last year, was an undrafted rookie free agent. They have a myriad of running backs that they run with, and you wouldn't know the name of those guys if they walked past you on the street. But they're one of the top rushing offenses every year, which equals what? Equals time for their defense because they dominate the time of possession often, right? So that equals time for their defense to rest up. They dominate the time of division. They just eat up the clock, and that equals W's for them. So I think, again, our offensive line stepping up, the veteran guys handling business, like that's along our offensive line, is going to better this team. That's why I think our win percentage could really come up. And that's why I see a lot of people are excited too, because, hey, we've gotten good at a lot of spots that we needed to ascend in this league. And I didn't even bring up the tight end situation, right? Our tight ends are good run blockers too. Our tight ends are very good run blockers. If you look at our wide receivers too, Corey Davis, healthy, he's a good run blocker. A lot of people don't know Garrett Wilson is a pretty good run blocker too. So all of those things playing a part and really help us. Like, bruh, I'm telling you, a lot of things is leading to we about to run the ball, baby. I can tell everybody we about to run the ball, baby. I don't know if y'all know that. Go ahead.
And that's how you beat teams. That when people say, how are we going to beat Pittsburgh and Cincinnati and Baltimore? How are we going to get any wins against these teams? Look at how hard the schedule is, and it's people forget. If you can run the ball, and they can't stop it, or they have to put 9 guys in that box to stop it, well, guess what? You put 9 guys in that box, Elijah Moore, Corey Davis, Garrett Wilson, Berrios, we're going to eat you alive in the play action. I mean, we're going to eat you alive. So on paper, Joe, I could be talked into any amount of wins when you look at our team on paper, because when I look at the team on paper, if everything was to hit, AVT looks like he was, getting better all season, expecting him to be a very good guard. We pair him on the other side with a Pro Bowl in Lakeland Tomlinson. You got McGovern, who's famous for playing at the level of the 2 people playing around him, surrounding him, right? And that's what he does. He plays at the level of the people around him. He's also played 2 new systems in 2 years, and both of them he started to get better towards the end of the season. So we might actually have a McGovern first time playing in the same system for the second year in a row. Maybe he's actually okay from the start and pretty good. He's at least an average center. But then you got the tackles. You got Becton, who I believe, and I say everything has to hit on all cylinders. Let's say Becton comes back to be the Becton. We know exactly who Becton is. The guy that was going to be an all-pro tackle all his rookie year that we fell in love with.
Yep.
You get that Becton back, and then George Fant, the way he played last year. That offensive line, with what you said, with two tight ends that are proven competent blockers.
Yep.
Then you take a guy like Michael Carter, who was somehow running through it anyway. He was most yards after a hit or top 5 in the league. A guy who was already succeeding, and you put him with a guy like Breece Hall, who to me would have been a top 10 pick anywhere in the 1980s or 1990s.
Yeah.
But we don't value running backs anymore. And then you look at our wide receiver room, and it's really hard to understand how we might not be, or how people could be so convinced that we're not going to be an excellent offense, like a really good offense. I mean, if our guys block well and are consistent, we are going to be like the Indianapolis Colts.
Yeah, we're going to give people problems. And I go back and forth with Jets fans all the time, and I keep telling them that our lack of ability to run the football killed us last year. It killed us. It absolutely did. If you look at we talk about these teams, right? We played the AFC North this year, right? You talked about the Ravens. You talked about the Steelers. You talked about the Bengals. Talk about all those guys up there. Why are they constantly competing? The Ravens too. Why are they constantly competing? All those teams can run the football. Every last one of them. You go to Pittsburgh, Najee Harris will run you out of the building. Out of the building. The Ravens constantly, Lamar Jackson can take off. That's one thing, but they got a myriad of backs that they handle business with. Like, we can keep going. The Bengals have a running game. Having a good running game, right, that you can lean on will set you up for success. Not in just the games, but we're just talking about throughout the season. Because guess what? It gets cold around here, bruh. And the wind be whipping. All right? It gets cold around here and this wind gets rolling. You're not just going to be able to chuck the football down the field all the time. You look at a lot of other teams that see, success in this league. The Seattle Seahawks, when they were dominated, they had a great running game. They were running the football heavy. The Patriots used to do the same. The Bills have a great running game. The Patriots, when they were dominating, they had a myriad of running backs so they could run the football. When you cannot do that in this league, you're going to expose especially a young rookie quarterback, you're going to expose him to a lot of really bad situations because you're one-dimensional. And now that Zach Wilson will have that running game to lean on when things may get tough, or when we're trying to really sort things and figure it out, I think, again, we should see him take a step forward. Because if you're playing around now and we play action, right, and you get sucked in, Garrett Wilson, Corey Davis, Elijah Moore, whoever, he'll find them deep. We saw him just chucking balls up to Corey Davis when he was healthy, and Corey would go get it, right? But if you don't believe us, right, and you just kind of settle down, and guess what? Our tight ends are going to eat you alive because we got pass catchers that can block as well. So it's just going to be a different time with our running game really getting going. And that's going to be another big thing for me this year, is seeing how creative Mike LaFleur can get with his running calls. Because we all know Kyle Shanahan is a running game genius, all right? He can put it together. And we saw a lot of creative calls from LaFleur last year with the running game. But now with all these added pieces, how much more can we see out of his playbook and his mind to really utilize this offense and his offensive weapons well?
Great. Well said. Well said. It's exciting. And then when you jump over, and by the way, the one thing we didn't talk about is, you know how you improve your defense without even changing a player?
No.
You own the time of possession and run the ball.
Yeah. That literally is a form of defense. Dominating time of possession. Listen, you can't score, bro, if you ain't got the ball. Good luck.
And a lot of our problems on defense, not all the time, I'm not saying all the time, but there were many games where our defense was playing very well.
Yep.
And what happened was we were 1, 2, 3 and out, 1, 2, 3 and out, 1, 2, 3 and out. And what happened? Our defense broke down.
Yep. Yeah, there were games that we lost down the stretch like that, where the defense was on the field so much they just gassed out in the fourth. And you couldn't blame them because, like you said, we could not keep drives going. There was no offensive sync at all. And like you said, 1, 2, 3 and out, 1, 2, 3 and out. Or we would come down and it'll be a interception, or it was just always something crazy where the offense could not get going. And that's what we saw early. We talked about it before Mike White. The offense was sputtering. I think we hadn't scored on like a first drive until Mike White came in and played with the Bengals. That was the first time we had scored. I think that's the first time we had scored in the first quarter, I believe, that year offensively, is before Mike White started. So listen, let me tell you something. This year, we have so many different things here, so many things in place to see offensive success. And that is because of Joe Douglas. And I believe it's because Zach Wilson is Joe Douglas's guy. right? Joe Douglas is guy, and he is showing you, unlike Mike McCagnon, he is showing you, I took this guy, I believe in this guy, I'm investing in this guy, just like every other team does that has a young quarterback that they like, right? They take him. Kyler Murray, look what the Arizona Cardinals have surrounded him with. They've put him in positions to succeed. If you look what Andy Reid did, Patrick Mahomes surrounded him with weapons, put him in positions to succeed. The Bills, look what they did with Josh Allen, put him in position to succeed. Baker Mayfield, when he, was the starter of the Browns, they put him in position to succeed. He had tons of weapons out the gate. Out the gate, they gave him everything. And it's extremely important to do that because, again, and you said it earlier, as they're picking up the game, right? Because you need more help the younger you are here. But then all of a sudden you become NFL savvy. Then contract time comes. We can't get all these free agents, dog, because you're gonna own half the team by then, right? We're talking about guys now are going to be making $40-50 million probably a year coming up soon. Patrick Mahomes owns half of Kansas City. Lamar Jackson, all these guys, they about to own, half of the cities that they live in with the type of money that they're going to make. And so when it comes around to giving Zach Wilson that deal, if he does pan out for us, we're going to have to make sure that we get these W's early, that we get these wins early, that we give him all the talent early, because then we're going to have to scrimp, save. And that's when drafting well becomes extremely important because you just can't afford everybody. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. We got another question here. Just change the mood. And this is something a lot of people talk about. I honestly haven't heard your take on this, so it's interesting to me what you're going to say. Do you think Quinnen Williams needs to have a breakout year this year for us to re-sign him?
Absolutely. He's got to step up and step forward. Quinnen Williams has got to dominate games. I like Quinnen Williams a lot. I really do. But up until this point, has he lived up to his, what was he? I think he was a third overall, right? He was a third overall pick. Correct me if I'm wrong. Because we just talking and I'm fired up right now. I think he was the third overall pick, if I'm correct. Has he lived up to that? No, he hasn't.
No.
And he said it himself that he has not, right? He doesn't dominate a game like you would think a third overall defensive lineman should dominate a game, right? He doesn't do that. Does he play well? Yeah, he plays well at times, yeah. But there's been some injury stuff that's gone on where he's missed time here and there. So Quinnen, and again, Quinnen's a guy that I think with the added weapons that we got this offseason, adding Jermaine Johnson, getting Carl Lawson back, right, fully healthy, I think he's a guy that is absolutely going to benefit from that, because you can no longer just double team Quinnen Williams, right? Because he's just not by himself anymore, bro. You're going to have to deal with him a different type of way, which means you're going to have to man up on him, which means those are matchups that he should win. Those are matchups that he should win. Well, listen, when Quinnen Williams is dominant, we've seen it where he's taken guys and took guards and put them in their quarterback's lap. We've seen it. So when he's dominant, he's dominant. But he just needs to step it up this year, because if he doesn't, right, I don't think anybody can justify giving him a big contract. I don't think anybody can. So he does have to have a solid year for us. And that doesn't mean like sack totals, right? We're not asking him to be a supreme pass rusher, but we want to see tackles for loss. We want to see pressures. We want to see you cause havoc up front like, any other great defensive lineman in this league does.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely agree that he needs to have the guys around him. It's too easy to key on him, like if you don't have, we lost our key player. We lost Vin Curry, aside from Carl Lawson. We were decimated in that regard. And I still think that if you look at the amount of snaps he played, he actually was very productive if you go by the percentage of snaps. Mm-hmm. Also, the one thing I do like about Quinnen Williams that I do want to point out is I feel like his sacks and his big plays happen in the right times. Like he makes him, they count, like the other team's at the 18, 20-yard line. It's 3rd and 7, and that's when he gets his sack. Like he comes through in key times. But I know also, but when you're drafted 3rd in the draft, what you're hoping for, and I'm not trying to pick on him, and I think I don't want people to get the wrong idea. It's not that he's not a good player, and I'm not happy we have him. If you forgot about, if he was a guy we picked up in the 2nd round, we'd be celebrating him. How lucky it was that we got this guy. But the reality is when you look at the capital that we invested in him, a number 3 draft pick, you were hoping for more. When we drafted him, we were hoping for more. We were hoping he was going to be an elite defensive tackle, not a discussion, but by year 3, he was going to be in the top 2 to 3 defensive tackles.
Yeah.
There's only one guy who plays for the Rams that should be better than him and be okay with us. Like, okay, that's a once in a lifetime special generational type talent in the NFL. Yeah. But other than that, we want him in the discussion in the top 3 defensive tackles in the league. And that's what we'd have to see this year, because I guarantee you he's going to demand a lot of money to re-sign him regardless of how he plays.
Yeah. And my thing with Quinnen Williams is, I know you said, he produced at times, and he did, at times, but it wasn't enough for me. And I don't think it was enough for it wasn't enough for him. Again, he's done interviews where he talked about it. I think it was like the closeout interview for the season where he says, listen, I got to go out there and be more dominant. The New York Jets were ranked 29th, I think, defensively against the run. We got ran on a lot this year. I know you watched it. I watched it. It was a sad watch. It was sad to watch.
Joe, there were literally times watching them play, because I broadcast, like, I'm live with Green Bean on Jets Nation. I literally said to Green Bean once, I said, this is like Rutgers versus Alabama.
Yeah.
That's how it felt. That's how
man. Listen, and the thing is, he was on the field for those things. He was on the field when we were getting ran on, and it was nothing. I remember that Colts game where they had, what did they have? Like, they had like over 170 something yards by the half. I mean, Jonathan Taylor was just having his way. His backup went off too and had a long run for a touchdown. We were giving up so many yards on the ground. I remember we played the Eagles. They dominated us running the football. I mean, we could not stop. Yeah, it was crazy. It was crazy to watch us get ran on like that. He was on the field for those games. So it's like, listen, the top 3rd overall, and we're 29th against the run, and they're running. Honestly, we're running straight at him at games. So it's like, bro, no, we need to see more out of him. Like you said as well, if he was a guy that we drafted in the 3rd or 2nd round, we'd be like, all right, he's played well. But 3rd overall, we need to see dominance, because when you go up against the Rams, if a lot of people talk about that, and a lot of people said that his player comparison was Aaron Donald when he was coming out of college. Bro, you ain't gonna do that to Aaron Donald. All right, you just not. All right, let me tell you something. You're not doing that. Okay, you try to run against Aaron Donald, you might want to change your game plan. That's all I'm saying. You might want to do that. So we need to see a step up there. Quinnen Williams is a guy, and again, I want to say this for any Jets fans listening. I'm not dumping on Quinnen. I love Quinnen Williams, and I think he's going to take the next step this year to really show us and be dominant. But he's got to do that, because if he doesn't, I don't think anybody can justify giving him a big contract to stay a New York Jet.
Yeah, and I think there's a good chance it'll happen, mainly not only because I think the talent is there, but who he's surrounded by. Like Carl Lawson on one side, Jermaine Johnson on the other. Who knows? Maybe Michael Clemons. I mean, does
That's
Curry
another guy? Yeah.
There's so many guys. Huff. Don't forget about Huff. I mean, we have so many guys. John Franklin Myers might be playing alongside him on the inside. So there's like. It's gonna, we're gonna crush up certain offenses with this defensive line if everybody stays healthy, and Lawson is 100%, and JJ works out, and then like we could be very, very potent and very dangerous, and that's gonna light Q up, and not just from having talent around him, but don't forget about the leadership of Carl Lawson. We saw before he got hurt, there was some footage of him talking to another player, calming down another player. I think it was the guy from Detroit. I'm forgetting his name already. What's his
Gerard Davis?
Gerard Davis, I think. It was a practice. He got heated, and Lawson went over to him and just kind of talked to him, like told him, calm down, get out of it, blah, 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 lectured him. And he just said, you're right, sir. Sorry, sir. Yeah. Like it just, Carl Lawson is a leader. So having him on that line and having him in that room playing as an active player, I think that helps too.
Yeah. Yeah, I think all those things are going to come into factor. And you brought up a great point. The leadership aspect that we're getting now in with a lot of guys that we've brought in. Listen, DJ Reed, again, a guy that has familiarity with the scheme. He's going to be able to come in and really help our cornerback situation step up. Whitehead is another guy we brought in as safety. Here's a guy that has championship caliber, okay? You want to – listen, he's been to where we're trying to get, okay? He's been to where we're trying to get. And not only was he there, but he was a guy that was instrumental in making sure that it happened. He wasn't a guy that was sitting on the bench chilling, eating chips while everybody else won that ring. No, he was out there. As a matter of fact, he was out there with a torn labrum and gutted it out and said, I'm going to go play, dog. I'm going to be out there. I'm that dog. So that shows you. Like he's gonna make sure that our safety position is better. And again, a lot of the other guys that we've added to, guys that understand how to get it done in this league, how to go about their business and handle business. That is going to be huge as well, in the leadership aspect too.
Yeah. No, I think that you're right. I mean, the players we added, we didn't just add just any old players. There's a purpose to every player we added. And he's really great, Joe Douglas, at finding these hidden gems, that nobody talks about as much in the offseason, and yet he finds them. Like Whitehead has been through it all. I mean, he's played in the Super Bowl. He was part of a unit that shut down Tampa. That shut down Kansas City. They shut them down. And plus, another thing I like about him is he's going to help turn that turnover ratio with us. Like we're going to go from negative in turnovers to positive. Like he's going to create turnovers. He hits like a missile. So he's an important pickup. And then Reed, you said it, a quality cornerback, just adding more talent into that room, which is so important in today's passing NFL. We made a lot of critical moves. The tight ends for Zach Wilson, Lincoln Tomlinson, that really ties up that line. So many really key moves. And then the return of Carl Lawson can't be, you can't overstate that.
Yeah.
We all saw what he was doing in training camp before he got hurt. He was changing the whole confidence level. Everything on that defense was changing because of him. And that's another thing we don't talk about is the punch to the gut that defense took when he was lost for the season. That really hurt our defense.
Yeah. Yeah, it absolutely did. And it hurt our defense because we don't have a pass rush without him. We don't have a pass rusher, to be completely honest. We don't have a consistent pass rusher. I don't want to disrespect, guys like John Franklin Myers, but come on. We don't have a consistent pass rush at all. And we saw it that year, right? Because the second that he went down and we were all like, oh my goodness, wow, what a hit to the defense, right? And then we said, okay, well, John Franklin Myers, Huff, Shaq Lawson, they're going to be the guys. They're going to step up. And we saw that year, John Franklin Myers made some plays, but then there was a point where it was just dead and there was nothing else. No one else could do anything. There was no pass rush. And that's one of the reasons why I think partially why our defense was so bad at spots last year. We couldn't get to the quarterback. And when you cannot rush the passer in the NFL, you're going to be dead in the water. If you give any quarterback in this league 30 minutes to throw the football, you're going to get ate up. You're absolutely going to get ate up. So, I think with him, Jermaine Johnson in the fold as well, we'll see our defense change around. We'll see our defense. Now I think Sellers going to be able to bring pressure. And with that pressure added, that's what I think will create turnovers because now you ain't got 40 minutes to throw the ball. You got half a second or a second, and you got to make a decision. And a lot of quarterbacks in the league, even some of the best, are going to make a mistake when they have very little time to throw the ball. You brought it up. Tampa Bay, we watched them go out there and shut down one of the greatest offenses to ever be in the NFL, right? One of the greatest. That Chiefs offense with Mahomes and the great tight end and Tyreek Hill was on at that time was a Chief and all that stuff. We watched them go out and completely shut that down and make Patrick Mahomes up until that point look like just an alien. He didn't even look like he was human, right? They made him look very mortal in that football game. They made him look like Sam Darnold, to be honest, running for his life, scared, trying to throw the football wildly off balance, not knowing where anything was coming from. Edge pressure in this game in today's NFL is extremely important. And if you ain't got it, you're going to have a lot of issues defensively.
Yeah. And I just want to say welcome to Johnny. You're asking what Lawson's injury was. He tore or blew out his Achilles.
Yeah.
That's why I keep saying if he returns 100%, because I respect the injury. It's a pretty serious one. It's no joke. Although they are saying that today's technology people have been coming back from that injury and doing really well in recent years. So there's a strong possibility he'll be back and he'll be fine. But he's a big guy. He's playing a position where you're putting a lot of pressure on your ankles. You want to cut, you want to push off. You have to just, we have to be realistic and say we can't be overly confident. We still have to just still be kind of hopeful and still, respect the fact that he's coming back from something pretty serious.
Yeah, we do. And we also have to, hope that when he comes back, that he's going to be able to get over the mental side of having that type of injury. And I think a lot of people don't even talk about that because they just say, hey, once he's cleared and he's healthy and the doctor say he's good, that should be fine. No, players often have to get past that mental block because when you're in the heat and you do your move and you get around and you bend, that thought is going to snap into your mind. Should I really push 100%? Because I don't want to tear my Achilles again. I remember how that felt. Sometimes those memories or that feeling will hit you. If he can get past that, which again, from everything that he said, it seems like, bro, he's ready to come back. He's ready to go. I'm fully confident in my body. I don't really, I'm good to go and I'm ready to go. So if he can get past that mental block, dude, yeah, there's a chance that he's going to come back 100% and be able to really do some things early. But that can be absolutely be an inhibitor to coming back and producing like that. And players have talked about it that have had big injuries, how hard it is to come back, to get yourself mentally ready to allow your body to be free out there.
Yeah. So that's something we'll be looking at. Same thing with Sherwood, right? I mean, he blew out his Achilles also. New Orleans gave Marcus May a $27 million, $9 million a year contract. Mm-hmm. He's coming back from an Achilles. So it feels like organizations, management, they're having a lot more confidence in how we treat those injuries. But we'll see. I think one thing that gave me a lot of hope was Akers is his name, the running back from the Rams. He came back in the Super Bowl or playoffs after only just 5 or 6 months with his ankle. So with his torn Achilles. So if that's any indication, we'll be in great shape.
Yeah. I mean, different people heal differently. I hear I hear a lot of, because I knew you were talking about Cam Akers, because a lot of people bring him up. Well, he, 5, but there's other guys that have had that injury and it was over. I'm being completely honest.
Done. Ended their career.
Yeah, there are guys that had that and it was over. So, but it seems again, Carl Lawson has said, hey, I'm coming back. I'll be ready for camp. I'll be fine. So if he's good to go and he's got over the mental stuff, dude, I think he can be a beast. But I just, want to make sure that we kind of walk him in. Don't try to, make him go too fast before he's ready for it. But if he's ready to go, I'm be excited about it.
Yeah. Look, if it's true what they say, that a lot of it has to do with the power of the minds, and a lot of it has to do with work ethic and your ability to put the work in, I have no worries.
Yeah.
Because Carl Lawson is an absolute beast when it comes to that. Like, he has the great mindset, hardest worker that I've ever seen in a player. I mean, what we saw from him last year, what I know of him is he's just a ridiculously hard worker. CJ Mosley too. I love having guys like that on the team that commit so much and work so hard to be the best they can be. So if it comes down to his mental part, then I'm going to be very confident. The thing that just scares me is that some injuries, man, it doesn't matter where your mind is. I mean, some injuries are just, it's a physical thing, right? If you don't have if it doesn't heal right, you just don't, and you don't get the speed back and the quickness and the power, what are you going to do?
Yeah. And that happens. That's why I'm all about, allowing him the time that he needs. I'm hoping that, nobody's forcing him back or rushing him back, which again, all indicators are they're allowing him to, kind of just relax and take care of the business how he needs to take care of it. But, once he comes back and he's 100% healthy, man, I'm excited for him because we definitely need him within this defense.
I will say that I haven't followed his whole career, Tony G. I hope you're being sarcastic because you'd be right. I followed him from the day he became a Jet. That's how long I followed Carl Lawson, the day he became a Jet. What's this? Joe, are you super excited about Clemons? Yeah, I didn't let you talk about him. You know how I feel about him. Everybody knows how I feel about him.
Mhm.
But how do you feel about Clemons?
Yeah, first off, salutes to E-Man, and I see you. I'm excited about him. I am. Here's a guy that I think has ability, and aside from, again, if he can keep himself straight off the field, which there's been some stuff in the past, but if that's all put behind him, like you said, this is a guy that has talent, and he's athletically gifted. We've seen that, right? He ran a very good 40 for a guy that his size. I mean, he's got what it takes. And again, I'm excited not just about him and his ability, but what he'll be able to do because of our coaching staff too. Our coaching staff can really have this guy put together in a situation where they can help him, gain moves. They can help him, with all the other stuff that he would need to put together to really become a great, defensive lineman in this league, or edge rush. Because a lot of people talk about he can put some pressure off the edge as well too. So yeah, I'm excited about him. I don't know where he'll shake out within the defensive line because again, our defensive line has so many monsters, but he's a guy that players have already come out and said, "Hey, I'm going to take this guy under my wing." Hey, he's a guy that we really like. So I am excited about him. I like the fact that we got him in the building. He seems like he has a great personality as well. A guy that definitely lights up when he talks to media. So he's very, very about it. So yeah, I'm glad that he's here, and I am excited about him. We'll see what he's going to be able to do when we get him on the field. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah. And old Dave, if you're not subscribed or you don't run over and subscribe to Long Beach Joe right away, you're not doing it right, my friend. Because yes, he's live, and his call-in shows are absolutely fantastic and a ton of fun.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, salutes to you, Dave. It's Long Beach Joe Jets, everybody. That's my channel. I do live radio shows. I let everybody know. You can follow me. I think my link tree is somewhere. I'll put my link tree in the chat, and you can share it with everybody in the stream. Yeah, please, follow me across my social media. Please go to my YouTube channel, Long Beach Joe Jets. We do year-round stuff about the Jets. We also play games on there as well with my the people that watch all the Savages, and we have a lot of fun. But I call in shows, we talk Jets, we talk about all the stuff that's going on, the roster, everything, and we have a blast doing it, an absolute blast, and I really enjoy it.
Cool. I love it. I love calling in. It's my
Jeremy was on last. Yeah. He was on. I absolutely, seriously, I really love talking to Jeremy. He calls in and we just, go back and forth, and it's just a blast, man. It really, really is.
Yeah, it's a good time, man. It's a good time. It's so much fun. The last year and a half since I've found this world, this community, because I was late to this game of even knowing it existed. All those years of living in California, moving to Sacramento, and not having anybody to talk Jets with, and it's just changed so much. I mean, we have such a big community here now that we're part of, and so many people to talk about it with, and I love it. It's great. It's like better than it was when I lived in New York. I didn't know so many Jets fans that I could have deep discussions with and celebrate with, and it's been amazing. It's such a good time. It's like, and I hope that everybody here gets the same out of it.
Yeah, and that's the reason why I do it, is because I love connecting with the fan base. I do, and I have a lot of people that view me and call in that aren't even Jets fans. I love talking football, period, with people, but we bleed green over here. All right. That's what I always tell people. It's Jets first. Let's be very clear. Okay.
Yep.
You want to call in and talk I have people that call in and talk about the Bears and the Falcons and all kinds of things. That's great. Right. And I can go back and forth with them, and we can have a lot of fun, but Jets over here. Okay. And that's big because, again, like you said, our fan base isn't gigantic, like Cowboys fans and all this stuff. We're such a tight-knit fan base, and we go back and forth about it all, man, and I just love it.
Yeah. So old Dave is also in California, so I believe he's in the Modesto area. So we're just covering the coast. You got me, and then you go down to Modesto on the way to LA, and then as you're going down towards LA in that area, we hit Long Beach Joe. See, we're just covering. We're starting to cover all of California. It's nice.
Yeah, man, especially for us, out here in Cali. It's like, man, we're all the way on the other side. So yeah, it's tough, but again, even when I'm out here, when I see Jets fans every so often, it's just dope to just sit down and have that discussion, about the team and what it's like, because again, there's not a ton of us. There isn't. But when we see each other and we recognize, hey, you like the green, I like the green, let's have that discussion. And it's always great.
Yeah, look at that, Johnny. I'm in San Diego all the time. Probably not as much because my brother moved, but for the last 20 years, I'm in San Diego all the time. And one thing I remember about Palm Springs, because you mentioned Palm Springs, is those tumbleweeds flying in front of my car.
Yeah.
But Johnny, I'll let you know when I'm down there, man. I'd love to meet up, man. Love to meet up with you, man. Johnny is an old timer, man. He goes back. He was a Jets fan when they were the Titans.
Wow.
Yeah, and he's
That's
also
a ways back.
He's
Whoa.
also a no baloney guy. You don't mess with Johnny. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Johnny's a tough guy. He's tough as nails. So
That's way back, way back.
yeah, so I would definitely get together with him. Go out, get something to eat or something. I don't know. I'll let him know when I'm in the Southern California area, and I'll let you know, Long Beach, when I'm in your area, when I'm passing through or whatever. So,
Yeah,
for sure.
Let me know, man.
Let me get that link for you. Here we go. Get that into the chat. Anybody who hasn't subbed yet, here is the link. This is it's a pretty cool thing you have set up here, like all your links, link tree. I gotta figure all that stuff out. And I definitely, there's so many little details. It's hard because I did this just all of a sudden, right? Got the channel going, and a busy job, right? I'm running an elementary school,
Yep.
and it's like so hard to just do all the things I want to do. It's like, there's so many, I'm just discovering so many things like Canva.com. Like I'm just discovering that, like for thumbnails, like, oh my God. So there's so many things that I'm trailing in. But eventually I'll get it all down and I'll catch up to everybody.
Listen, I'm telling you, and that's, again, everybody, please go to my link tree, Long Beach Joe Jets. I have a couple other YouTube channels as well. I post, content on those. So please follow those as well. But yeah, it's all about, for me, I'm like, man, I'll do different stuff, outside of just Jet stuff, which is, definitely a big part of what I do. Let me make sure that, everything is there. So you don't have to look all over the place. My social media is in there as well. Please go over there, follow me across my social media platforms too. And let me tell you something, we have a lot of discussions on there as well. We have a lot of fun. So please hit that link tree, follow me across all my YouTube pages, social media, all that stuff. Even in there is the charities that I work with as well, that I do some work with too, and we have fun. So, yep.
Cool. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. So, hey man, you ready to wrap up?
Yeah.
I'm ready to wrap up. I'm tired. Sorry, guys. I know we usually go longer on Friday nights and everything, but usually I have those other guys here and I leave and let them do it. So, yeah, I think we had a good show. We shouldn't stomp on it. I think it's a good time to just close it off. I will be back on Sunday night with Dom C. So we'll have a full 2-hour Sunday night show with you then. Long Beach, do you want to talk about what you're doing next? Like what night should they find you? That kind of stuff.
Oh yeah. So again, for those of you that may not know, or maybe you join, my name's Long Beach Joe. I do a radio show. We have a lot of fun on my channel, which is Long Beach Joe Jets. Linktree is in the chat, so you can click on that. Go down to Long Beach Joe Jets, and please subscribe. All my other YouTube channels are on there as well. Please subscribe to those too. You can follow me along my social media platforms, which is in that link tree as well. But on Facebook, it is Long Beach Joe. Long Beach Joe. You go there, hit that follow button, and let me know. Let me know about what you think about what I'm doing. Let me know how you feel about my content. Also on Twitter, it's YoungJ000. Again, YoungJ000. That's my personal page. The show's page is at The Long Beach Joe. At The Long Beach Joe for my show page, and follow those. I'll follow you right back, and we can go back and forth, man. I really have a lot of fun, talking football with people. Some people hit me up and just talk about life. I'm here to listen to that as well. I've had a lot of people that have discussions with me. So again, please follow me across YouTube, follow me across my social media platforms. I'm also on iTunes as well. The Long Beach Joe Show. Okay, The Long Beach Joe Show. Go there, subscribe to my iTunes. All right, you can hear the podcast, please give me a 5-star rating and give me some feedback too. Let me know how you folks feel about the show. And we're going to have a show coming back. I think next week, Friday, is when I'll be having my show at 7 p.m. Eastern. You can call in. The number is 515-602-9639. Again, 515-602-9639 is the number to the show. Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern is when I think we're going to have the next show. And we're going to have a lot of fun with that. We always have a blast. And Jeremy, again, man, love talking to you. Hopefully you call in. We have a lot of fun, man.
No, absolutely. I'll do that. I always feel pumped up after we talk. So I always enjoy it. Always enjoy it. It's funny because doing this channel and as much work as I put into it, it didn't take the joy out of the way of still appreciating everybody else's content and being part. I still get the same rush and calling in and having you answer the call and give me all the sound effects. And it means that, it's still just as fun, whether I had a channel or not. So
yeah. And that's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. When you're having fun, doing your content, and you can, again, because it's all about connecting. That's what it's all about, it should be all about for everybody. So yeah, having that fun and connecting and talking about the Jets, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for coming on, Joe. I really appreciate it. I love these talks. I love that you come on my show. I'm extremely flattered and honored to have you. I genuinely mean that.
Absolutely.
It's been great. And I look forward to the next time we get together.
Absolutely, man. And again, like Jeremy, I tell you all the time, I really enjoy your content. Love what you're doing. Keep doing it. You know what I'm saying? You're doing a great job. And again, thank you so much for having me on. I truly appreciate it. Salute to you. And listen, salute to everybody watching. I really, really, enjoy people going off in the comments as well.
All right. Take care, my friend. Take care, everybody. I'll leave you with this memory of a couple of weeks ago. Oh. Don't not be Thibodeau. And here it comes. It's about to come in. Oh, my God. They didn't. They took Sauce Gardner. Oh, my God. They don't want an edge. Maybe he likes Jermaine Johnson at 10. Then we're not going to get a wide receiver?
Garrett Wilson, wide receiver. Oh, my God. No edge.
Who's sitting there?
The Jets traded up. Are we taking JJ? Are we taking JJ? Because I know Braden is in New Zealand saying, we should get Lily, Mike. He's definitely saying that. JJ! We got Johnson! We got Johnson at 26! This is great! Yes! They took Roger McCreary. They didn't take Dean, and we traded up. We can get Jacoby Dean. It really is. They took Breece Hall. Wow. I mean, look, I love Breece Hall. But there's also Jeremy Ruckert, who I think is the best tight end in the class personally. They took Jeremy Ruckert. Yes! We got a Jeremy. Oh, and the Jets pick, and it's Max Mitchell, offensive tackle. We needed that. Wow. We took Michael Clemons. I never heard of him. A defensive edge.